What's up, guys? Welcome to the new setup. So today we're going to do a tech and coffee, and what this video is about is 6 e-bikes I think are worth your money in 2022. I know at this point there's a ton of options for e-bikes, and you could really have your pick of like different styles of motors and different styles of bikes and tire size and the use case. So what I've done is like I picked 6 bikes that I know that 2 of them for sure I'm definitely gonna buy, and then other 3 are like next up. If I needed them, I wouldn't worry about spending my money to buy them, and you'll see why, and I'll walk you through it. So let's just do it. So this is the Priority Current e-bike. This is the first bike we're going to go over. So what this is kind of like a city bike. So if you live in a big city and you need to get to work, and you don't feel like taking a taxi or driving and worry about hassling, this is the bike to buy. No doubt. When we go through the list of specs, you'll see that this bike is pretty much as high as you can legally spec a bike. In the United States at least, and probably illegal in Europe. And another note on this bike is I purchased a Priority bike, not this bike, but their quality and customer service is, whew. I don't work with them. They offered me like a 10% discount, which I took, but like I have no reason to like tell you like these guys are like out of control, and this bike is like really seriously awesome. So it kind of looks kind of a little bit mundane. It comes in this white color here, too, which I think is fire. And so one cool thing about this bike is that it's a mid-drive. So the motor is in the center. So this is typically like the position of a motor for a high-end bike, like $4,000 and above, and we're well below that. And what this also has is over in this rear hub here, it has like an internally geared hub. And I really want to kind of like, I know there's a lot of people that don't really understand a lot of the terminology. I didn't when I was first like going through bikes, but let me try to explain it the best I can. So usually on a bike, the transmission for the bike is kind of sitting off the side of the wheel, and I'm sure a lot of you people have seen like a bunch of gears sitting off on the side. So what they've done in this bike is they've moved all the gears that are sitting on the outside, on the right hand side, inside the middle of the wheel, which is like super dope. In 10 years every bike will be like this. I'm pretty confident. The reason why they don't do it now is just the material tech isn't really there, but once they figure it out, I mean there's no reason not to do it. Like no car is using like gears that are hanging out the bottom of the car anymore. Everything's encased in a transmission, and that's kind of like how we do it with this bike. So another reason I like this bike is you could see this top bar here. It's like sloping pretty low, and this kind of gives you comfort to get on the bike, get off the bike, and just like moving around. If you're in the city and you need to dismount your bike, you can kind of get off of this easily. There's another bike that doesn't even have this top bar on this list, so I'll point that out. Actually, you'll be able to see it. So outside of that, the reason why I said that I really like this bike is the spec list. And if you go and you look at the other reviews for this bike, you'll see that this bike is like really like 140 Newton meters of torque, which is like how we typically rate the power of electric bike, is out of control. Like it's unheard of. Most mountain bikes that have like the really powerful like motors will cap out around like 95, and 95 is a lot. So 140, you're doing different things. 28 miles per hour, limited by like United States, the speed limit for bicycles, and you're getting all of that out of a 500 watt mid drive, and that makes a big difference, because if this was 1,000 watt, that means that you're burning a lot more power. And here the 500 watt is going to keep your battery consumption as low as possible. And essentially what they've done is just with the efficiency of the I didn't even talk about the belt drive. So all Priority bikes, let me go back a little bit. So let's see if I can zoom in on any of these. let's just use this photo right here. You see this? There's actually a belt that goes around where the chain would be on your standard bike. So that, along with some other stuff, lowers the friction levels and allows you to get like a ton of power out of a relatively mild motor. And they say it here, 20 to 50 miles based. You know, like that's wild. That's a lot for this, that much power. 140 newton meters, that much power. That's a lot. And I think what they do is, like, this bike here is like, they limit how much wattage you could put on a regular bike and the speed, but they don't really limit the newton meters. So I think what Priority has done here is be like, the one area where they're not regulating, let's turn it all the way up. And I think that's the way to go for sure. So I kind of gone through this bike. I love this bike. I wish I could afford it. It's not really on like tap for me to buy, but like, who knows like what the future holds. So like, I would definitely, like, say if I needed this bike, I would just buy it. I wouldn't even like research it. I know I'm confident that it's going to be a dope bike, and if not, then they'll totally take it back or they'll help me out. So another few features is like, it's got a pretty nice seat. I've used the seat on my bike was high quality, so I'm sure this bike is like 3 times more than my bike, so I'm sure the seat on this bike is fire. USB port for charging your iPhone. There's integrated lights, so that's another thing. Like, say even if you build something comparable, and we'll go over that in a later video, but if you build something comparable, you're not going to have like built-in lights like this. And there's actually a couple on their seat stays on the back here, this bar, that are integrated. So like, there's a couple benefits to that. The main two are, you don't have to take them off the bike to charge it. It works with the battery that's already going to be charging. And second of all, no one's going to be able to steal it because it's actually connected to the bike. And so that's great. This bike is just like, the more you look at it, the more you're like, why doesn't everybody just have this bike? And the brakes are mechanical, and the brakes are hydraulic, not mechanical, which means that they're going to be more consistent over time, less effective in the winter. But I mean, that's an upgrade for sure, and I'm sure they'll be okay for the winter. There's things you can do to make that like winterproof, no doubt. So let's go to number 2. So man, this is a bike I will definitely own at some point. This is a Aventure step through e-bike. This is 2Gs, and I love this red color. Honestly, this is like, what this gives me is like, I don't know, it's like kind of like a nerdy Ducati e-bike. Like, that's kind of how I feel. Like, this thing is not mid-drive, so the motor is not in the center, it's in this rear wheel. And that's a little bit like what that does, and I know a lot of people are like confused about like different like motor positions. So when you have the motor in the rear wheel, what really happens is you're going to get like a motorcycle effect. So your torque is going to like really be high in this rear wheel, opposed to like, you know, it's hard to say like for sure, but like it just feels, it gives you more of a rear bias feel, no doubt about that. And then what it's going to do is it's going to bring all the weight back. So when you have weight over here, then you get off balance. So say if you try to like jump or like say if you're just going through like a really bumpy section and you're trying to balance the weight, what you're going to be having to do something different than like a regular bike. You're going to feel more like you're on a moto or like a motorcycle. So, but this bike is a fat bike, which kind of sets it out, and I really like fat bikes. They look a little weird at first, but they're just so comfy, and they just have a presence on the road. They're something different. They just feel really good, and man, look at this color. This is just sweet. Like, one thing I would do on this bike for sure, like you see these handlebars, how they're kind of like angled towards you. I would flip the stem, get the bars lower, and just put a straight bar that curves back towards you. This thing will look super mean. So let's go into the specs here. So outrageous range for a fat tire bike. And what I think is happening here is like they're measuring it on just a straight, because what's going to happen is they're going to build a lot of energy into these tires, and if you just keep going, the tires will help you keep going. Now, if you do stop and go, you're going to get terrible mileage opposed to, like, say, the Priority. You know, the Priority is going to give you better stop and go. That's what I was kind of saying. This is a great city bike. But if you're just covering distance, like, man, this is a wicked bike. Wicked bike. This has a front suspension, which is, I'm sure, like, super cheap, but does the job. They offer some, like, accessories that are, like, specifically for this bike. It also, I think, has this also has the integrated light system, like, the Priority, which is, like, bare minimum you should really want for, like, $2,000. And then, so their motor is a little bit more powerful. It's at 1,300 or was it 1130 watt peak motor, and you get a huge 720 watt hour battery, and the tires are 4 inches, and then the display is super crack. Yeah, so it comes with nice metal fenders, the integrated lights here, fat tires, and then so they offer a couple, like Aventon offers a bunch of different bikes. And they offer a different version of this bike that has the bar up top. And, you know, if I have the option to not have the bar, I'm not going to have the bar. Because, yeah, like, maybe in the 1970s, a bike that didn't have a top bar was meant purely for women. So they could ride in skirts. But now, this kind of... Just being able the comfort to get in and out of a bike without having to swing your leg over... just makes your life a little bit easier. Like, I wouldn't second guess wearing dress pants on this bike. I wouldn't second guess wearing, like, khakis. Like, I wouldn't second guess, like, giving this bike to a girl that's in a dress. Like, I'd be like, hey, just you could do it. Like, it's not a big deal. And I really like that. So this Adventure, the real rip on this is that the motor's in the back, and I don't know, like, to really know the benefit of having a mid-drive, I think you have to be pretty e-biking inclined. And so a lot of you people aren't if you're watching this video. So, ooh, what is this? Okay, so the next bike is this Roadster. So Ride1UP. Man, I have never seen any of their products in person, but man, I am digging their philosophy. So what this bike is a e-bike, and the battery is mounted in this tube here. Wicked. And what's cool is all the welds are, like, smoothed out. I don't know, I said that incorrectly. And then they drop the rear stays to make this bike look really pretty. Some people like it. I think bikes are prettier opposite. I really dig the drop stays look. And then this version has, like, tan tires. What's really cool about this bike is, look at that price, dude. $1,245. So this is their gravel version. They do a cheaper version of the same bike. Hold on. So they do a $1,000 version of this red bike, but you lose the disc brakes, and I think you lose the cool tires. So I would probably stick with the gravel, and you're gonna get a belt drive just like Priority. It's probably not gonna be the same quality of Priority. This is probably a cheaper version, but I'm sure belt drive is belt drive. And you get some nice gravel tires. And so with this bike's not gonna really jet you around like their Priority or the Adventure will. This bike is just to kind of to extend your range, or like, I'm like, it has so many uses. That's why I'm kind of like struggling to like explain. Like, this bike is so versatile. This could replace your regular bike. You could add on to your regular bike. This could be your car. This could be just something you like throw some really fast components on and just go crazy. This bike could be like your touring bike. So if you're hanging out with, like, if you have a bunch of touring friends that do like 30-mile rides, like, you could just you could bring this bike and they'll know it's an e-bike. But like, there's like the fact that it's so slim, like, it makes it sting a little bit more than if you were using like the Adventure and you're trying to race some roadies. You know, if you pull up, if you beat a roadie with this bike, even though it's an e-bike, they'll be pissed. And that's what I like about it. I mean, there's so much to like about this bike. I'm definitely buying this bike as soon as I get opportunity. Yo, Ride1UP. I'm buying 2 bikes from you guys. So like, if you guys want to hook it up, I haven't reached out. I will not reach out because that's not my style anymore. But like, Yeah, I'm definitely buying this bike. There's no doubt about it. I was a little sketchy about making this video because I know that if I talk about the two bikes that I want to buy, like other people are gonna buy them. But you know what? You gotta just do what you gotta live your life. You know, like just live your life. If you want this bike, don't worry about me. Unless you want to buy me one. So, and then yeah, let's just go through this. So the motor in the rear for this is really lightweight. It's compact. It doesn't pack a punch, and you can kind of see here. So it's like a 350 nominal, 500 peak, which is like less than the Aventon. But look at this weight, 33 pounds for an e-bike. I dare you to find a lighter e-bike. Small battery. So they offer spare batteries, and they offer a battery that hooks over here that can be external battery, so you can like double your range, or they offer just a replacement for the tube. So if you fry your tube battery, or if you just don't want to carry an external battery and you just want two of these slim batteries, I'm not sure how easy it is to switch it. I'll let you guys know once I buy that bike. Yeah, this is just a cool. It's like a mini egg rider, faux egg rider display. It gives you everything you need, and they use like okay quality components. They have some like, oh, this is the battery I was talking about. So they have some like specific tools for this, and I guess it works with the trailer nicely, which is like, that's great. Like you can, I don't know, maybe throw your kids in there or whatever, or buy one that's for kids. So let's jump to the next bike. Same company. Man, I want this bike so bad. I'm definitely like, this is like as soon as I can afford it, like I would love to jump on this April shipment. So yeah, Ride1Up, hit me up. Man, this color is sick too. I think this is a newer color because they had like a purple. Let's see. Yeah, they have a purple. So they offered this bike, the Prodigy, and a few different configurations. This is their newer bike, but check this out. This is a mid-drive. So I'll kind of walk you through this mid-drive because it's a little bit controversial. So they use a Bose system, and this Bose system is known for failure. But so what they've done in this bike, or at least I think they've done, is like they've kind of toned down the power of this bike and made it like the same bike that would be a full suspension. They put it in a hardtail to kind of like limit like the exposure of the motor to like high stress for torque, like wheel hop. This is more something that affects people that are like serious mountain bikers, but essentially you'll have this wheel lose traction and then gain traction abruptly. And so what I think that probably does is strip the gears inside the motor. And so they're using this motor that, knowing the industry has kind of moved away from it. So the reason why I'm still recommending it and I'm still going to buy it myself is because Ride1Up offers their own warranty, like extra, like 2-year warranty, 1-year warranty. And it's like, yeah, it's expensive. Maybe it's like $500, but like you're still like under $3,000 for a lightweight mountain bike, e-bike. That's actually, I think you could actually upgrade and put some serious components on. This comes with, I think, decent strong. Let's see what it comes with. So the motor is like a 90 Newton motor torque. This is what I was saying. So for the priority, like 140 is ridiculous. 90 is still great, and then this will definitely take you up to 28. And it comes with the 1 year, but they offer more. This battery is like 36 volt, 14 amp hour, which is like okay. Everything about this bike is okay, but then like they put it in a lightweight frame and they give you good geometry, and they kind of like gear it towards a mountain bike. And if you're a e-bike mid-drive mountain bike, you're over $4,000. And look how much they're selling it for, 24. Like, that's a killer deal. Unless the frame's completely trash, which I don't think it will be. That's a killer deal. And so they offer it in like different versions. They offer one with a rack, and this one removes, I think, this one just removes the suspension fork, and then it comes in this ST, which is like the short down tube. And in this situation, I would probably just go with the regular top tube and go with this green which I didn't know existed until just now. Oh my god, I need this bike. And then the next bike, Sondors Rockstar. So this is the best e-bike you can buy, I think, right now. And that's even including like Trek and like Specialized. This is the best bike. This is the best full suspension mountain bike you could buy right now. And there's like so many reasons. I could make like half an hour video on just this bike. But here's some quick 40 to 60 miles, 28 miles plus, which means you can unlock it and hit like 35. 750 mid-drive motor, and I know for a fact this is actually 1,000. They just kind of lowered it down to be legal. And so you can I'm sure there's a way to pump it back up to 1,000. Max is 27.5.3 tires. You know, the tires alone on this bike are at least $150. That's the tires. Aluminum rims with seal bearing hubs. If you know what that is, you know that's the jam. And then yeah, so it comes in some dope colors too. I think this gray is discontinued, or I don't know if you could buy it, but it comes. How I would get it, I would get this murdered out. I would get it black. I like me some color, but man, that thing looks wicked. If you see this cruising on the street, you're gonna be like, man, this looks like the Batmobile bicycle or whatever. You know, that thing looks wicked. This top tube, it looks cool. I mean, usually I don't like this style of top tube, but on this bike it just works. It just works. So the reason why I'm probably never gonna buy this bike, this bike is great if you only have the room for one bicycle and you needed to do absolutely everything. Like you needed to like take it to work. You need to like climb a mountain. You need to like go up the coast. You need to like enter a tournament. Like you need to like do some racing. Like whatever you want to do, this bike's gonna do it. The issue with this bike for me is that it's like 80 pounds, and at that point it's more of a dirt bike than it is a bicycle, and I'm more into bicycles. But man, like if you gave me this bike, I would not be upset. Like I would whip this thing so hard. Let's see, get some tech specs. So Sondors isn't good with giving you specifications. They just don't. But it's actually available. You could purchase this. You'll get it by February. So yeah, I mean, I like a lot of Sondors products. I've ridden a few of their products in person. They're better quality than you would think for the price. This is just like above 3Gs, which is like killer. Like they're concerned there's bikes that are like $9,000 that I don't think are as capable of this. Like maybe they feel well balanced. I'm sure like if you take a Specialized Levo Turbo, I'm sure it's way more well balanced than this bike, and the motor is smoother, but it's not going to give you the raw power this bike does. And I think a lot of people want that raw power, so it's just there with this bike. And last but not least, so this is like more of like a chill bike, but this is the Rad Rover Plus, I believe. I think it's the Rad Runner Plus. And so what this does, this integrates a back seat and small wheels and a tall upright stance. So you're kind of like going to be like holding the bicycle like this, and you're going to be sitting with your back straight up opposed to leaning forward. And I know a lot of people have like mobility issues or hip issues, or they're just not that flexible. This is the bike for you. This gives you a rear hub motor and just decent specs. It gives you a suspension fork, some nice Kenda tires, integrated lights. Yeah, I really like this style of integrated lights here. This is not going to be like a powerhouse, but if you just need to get some groceries, or if you just need to like, if you want a moped and you don't want to get a license, or you just want to like this kind of gives you everything you need. This is 48 volts, so even though it's like not necessarily a speed powerhouse, the Prodigy, this one only gives you 36, right? So like they're like saying 36 is good for this. So I'm sure this Rad Runner has some oomph to it, you know, like 300-pound payload capacity. That's payload, you know, like that you could like put. I could put my big fat ass on that bike, and I could put some groceries on it, and we're still good. We're still like below. So like that's wild. Technical. I got some videos for that. So this is a rear hub moto, and they have like this derailleur, which is, I was saying, the external transmission. So like that's all in the back. So there's gonna be a lot of weight in the back. You're not gonna be jumping too many things or anything with this. And it has a 45 mile plus range. 80 newton meters of torque. I mean, this bike is like proven winner. It's a really well received and highly bought and purchased and sought after bike. You might even be able to find this on the secondary market because there's so many people that had this bike. Maybe not this exact version, but yeah, like this bike's a winner. So yeah, so here we are. So this video was to kind of give you, if you haven't had any like opportunity to really like do a deep dive in the tech specs for bikes, I feel confident recommending any of these bikes. Obviously, wear a helmet, and then get them assembled professionally. Don't do them yourself, especially if you don't feel confident doing it, or if you don't know what you're doing ahead of time. While you're doing it, I don't recommend doing it because this is not something that you want to take a chance on. A bicycle you might be able to haggle together or piece together, but these things are handling a lot more power, and they need to be a lot more durable and reliable than your standard bike. And so I'm confident all these manufacturers are doing that, and definitely get them professionally assembled and support your local bike shops. All right, guys. So I'm just a quick video just to like bring you back. I know that I've kind of always promised that we're really I'm putting a lot of effort into bringing us a lot of content, but you know, kind of this new setup is a step in that direction. I haven't ever asked in any of my videos for you guys to subscribe, but you know, I've come to the point now where I kind of have to take this really seriously or drop it because I am a doctor, and so like I have opportunities to do other things that I feel are like they're gonna put some money in my pocket and kind of help society, you know, like as a whole. And this is kind of like a fun little side project. I don't really make money off of this channel. This is just kind of me just putting out some videos for fun. And so if I could put out some videos for fun that really don't do nothing, and make a little bit of cash that kind of like evens out, I can kind of justify it. So I hope you guys subscribe. I feel disgusted even asking anybody to subscribe, but please subscribe. You could and tell people to subscribe, and like put subscribe in the comments to people that are commenting. All right, guys. Well, this is like episode 2, Tech and Coffee. I'm gonna bring it back on a weekly thing, hopefully, and we'll go from there. Also, I have a new channel that I started that's geared towards sports and health. It's called Omar Illustrated Health. Go subscribe. I'm sure I'll give you a bigger intro at a certain point once I start posting some videos. All right, guys. Take care.